What is up, guys? Welcome to the ThinkComputers Weekly Tech Podcast. This is episode 352, and our podcast is brought to you by Amazon. If you go to thinkcomputers.org/Amazon and happen to purchase something that gives a little kickback and keeps the podcast ongoing, with me is my co-host Ryan. What's going on?
What's going on, man?
You were super excited because the Chiefs won the Super Bowl this past weekend.
Baby.
Yeah,
That's right. Chiefs Kingdom. Yes, I was super pumped. We were like messaging back and forth, and like, Eagles scored first, and I was like, oh man, here we go. That was quick. We came back, and then it was just like back and forth, and so it was a good game.
It was a good game. I didn't really have. I wanted the Chiefs. I put it on Twitter, like on my personal Twitter. I was like, I want the Chiefs to win, but I think Philly will win. Right?
Sure.
And I mean, like I said, I didn't have really. I'm not a fan of it. I'm not a big fan of any team, but I do like the Chiefs better. But it was nice that it was a close game, right? Because when it comes to Super Bowl, when it's a blowout, it's just not as fun, right?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
So it was a very close game. I would say that last penalty call was a little ticky-tacky.
Yeah, I get that. Like, it feels like it happens all the time in these big situations. So
it
happened again.
Yeah, but no, the Super Bowl was cool. Did you? Obviously, the big thing with the Super Bowl is the commercials. Did you see any commercial that really stood out for you?
So the one that I saw that I liked the most, what was it? Man, you threw this on me. I was thinking about it earlier.
The one that I thought was
give me yours.
Was amazing. Was the Tubi commercial? Because like everybody
was freaking out.
Yeah, everybody has a smart TV now, for the most part. So the Tubi commercial basically made it like your TV was like changing into the Tubi app on your TV. And literally, I was at a Super Bowl party, and everybody's like, "Wait, who's changing this? Like, where's the remote? Like, what's going on?" And
that was so good.
The genius of that is that commercial comes on, people aren't paying attention, and you're talking. It got everybody's attention, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Whoever came up with that, genius. Because everybody's fixated,
or a bonus
and then
or something.
like, if they've never heard of Tubi, they're like, "Oh, then what is this Tubi thing? These guys are smart." Like, So I thought that one was super cool. I don't know if you.
I'm trying to think of there was one that I watched the whole game and was sitting there the whole time. So
yeah,
but it was like in between. I was just like, I wasn't really reading tweets. I was mostly talking to you in between, or like, getting a drink or whatever. Yeah. But I don't know if there was one that was crazy funny. I feel like there was one that I thought was funny, and now it's like I'm drawing a blank. So whatever.
Yeah. Well,
it's all good.
Like I said, I that was the one that really stood out to me as far as like one that I was like, wow, like that's pretty cool, But yeah, like now that football's over, what are you gonna do?
I don't know.
There's always hockey. There's always hockey.
No, I won't be taking that viewing habit up.
But yeah, this is a tech podcast. Of course, we're not here to talk about the Super Bowl. I had to bring it up because Ryan's a super fan. So,
well, I'm a fan. Yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised you didn't go to a party. You didn't have people over.
Because I don't want to watch it. Like, I don't want to watch at a party. Like, if it's two teams that I don't care about, then sure, I'll go and do that. But if I'm watching it, I get too wrapped up in the game and have an outburst.
Yeah, I mean, I went to, so when the Penguins won the Stanley Cup in 2009, I went out to a bar that was like playing the game, obviously, and it was insane to be there, like in person. And then, when that was like when we won, it was like insane. We were like throwing alcohol everywhere. Like it was, yeah, it was fun to be out like at a bar for those things. It all depends. It all depends on the bar atmosphere too, because there's some bars that like won't play like the audio, or they'll just have the game. I think for the Super Bowl they'd be playing the audio though. But anyways, guys, like I said, back to tech here. We do have our full show notes page if you guys want to follow along and see everything that we're going to be talking about this. We're going to jump right into reviews. And I'm actually using a product that we reviewed this week. It's on my head. It is the HYTE Eclipse HG10. You can see we talked about it a little bit last week. It's white and gray. I think it looks excellent. It's a really, really nice gaming headset. And I would have to say, out of anything with this headset, it's extremely comfortable. Super, super comfortable. Wireless gaming headset. So again, no wires here. I can walk to the other room, no problem, which is great if you're on some Zoom call where you're really not paying attention, but you be on the line, you can walk around, you can walk to the bathroom, you can do all that kind of stuff with this headset on, which is really great. But the reason it's super comfortable is that, most gaming headsets we see, unless they're really, really high end, they use fake leather or pleather on the ear. This uses real leather. So these ear cups are real leather. And as you can see, it's not a full circle. It's more like a D, which I thought was going to be kind of interesting. I wasn't sure how these would actually feel on my head. But they're actually really, really comfortable with that kind of D shape, which I was actually really surprised. But having real leather, again, you have to try it. But whatever, like in the cushioning is like just right. Because I know you like the headset that you're using now. I really like that headset. That's the Corsair HS80.
No, this is the Virtuoso.
Okay,
wireless SE. I do have the HS80 though as well.
I think one of those. I really like it. The audio is great. It has Dolby. It has all that stuff. But after about an hour and a half, it hurts the top of my head. That's what I mean.
Okay.
With this headset, I don't get that. So that's why I'm still using these. They're really, really good. The sound is really good as well. As far as like connections and things like that. It uses a Type-C for power. The only downside to this headset is that you can't plug it in. Like, so say the battery runs out, you can't plug
just
it in.
Have USB connected
no, and there's no 3.5 millimeter connection if you wanted to connect it to something else, right? If you wanted to connect it to a different device, your mobile device, something, you can't. It's only wireless. It's only 2.4 gigahertz wireless, and it only works with the included USB dongle. That's it. But you have a simple power button, volume rocker. There's a cutout here for the microphone, which you can see connected here. I do like that the microphone is detachable because, like, obviously in this situation, I'm using this XLR microphone, so I wouldn't have something in my face. So it's nice that it is detachable. It is metal as well, as like the actual frame of it is all metal and the headband's all metal, which we definitely like to see. Sometimes you take it off, you bend it a little bit, you don't want it to break, or if you rage quit, you don't want to. One of my good friends, he got really, really mad one day, and he took his on his stream, he took his headset off and threw it, and it basically exploded. Because the headset, the band was made
of cheap plastic one.
So but yeah, good cushioning on the headband. Like I said, it's extremely, extremely comfortable. As far, like I said, audio quality is really good. So in games, which is probably most people would be interested in games, you can easily identify enemies and where they're coming from. This does not have any THX or Dolby headphone, Dolby Atmos, any of that stuff. It doesn't have any of that. It is good as far as all that, but one of my favorite, the one Razer headset I have has THX spatial audio, and that in a headset, when it comes to like FPS games, like we play Apex Legends, that is amazing. And Apex Legends they have like a THX competitive mode, so that really like makes that so much better. But for like a good overall headset, I think this sounds really good. It has heavy bass. It is going to keep you immersed in your game, which I think is really important. And one thing that's really nice is that the ear cups fully encapsulate your ears. So you have good sound isolation. Like there's no active noise canceling or anything like that. But I mean, obviously, if somebody was like yelling at me behind me, I could hear them.
Sure.
But there is like, you know, maybe like outside or something like that. Like you have pretty good sound isolation, which is really good in this headset as well.
Because they're fully closed, right? They're not.
Yeah, they're fully closed in. So the audio quality is really, really good. Microphone quality is another thing. It is not very good. While it will get you by on like a simple Skype call or a Teams or a Zoom call, it's not going to be great. We have an audio sample here for you guys to listen to. It's like almost every other, besides the Corsair ones, because Corsair has figured this out, is previous to the Corsair ones that we reviewed, a lot of the wireless gaming headsets, their microphone quality isn't great because it's transmitting it wirelessly. It's compressed, and you can definitely tell it's compressed. Like the HS80 that we also have an audio sample right here, you can listen to the two and tell the difference. Corsair figured it out how to have good microphone quality. You know, so that is a downside. I would say if you're a streamer, if you're a game, you know, I think you would really need a different microphone. If you were using this in a streaming setting, a podcast setting. So again, listen to that, you know, listen to the mic sample that we have here. Now, the one thing I really like about this is the price, $100. Most wireless gaming headsets that you're going to find are going to be 150 range. Some are even in the higher end of that. I think, and the thing that's really great about this is that it's $100 and it's completely plug and play. No software to install, nothing like that. You know, you don't have to have a different, you know, for like the Dolby headsets, you have to have the Dolby app installed for Dolby to work and all this other kind of stuff. Nothing like that. The dongle is factory paired to the headset, obviously. So all you literally do is plug it in and it connects. It's that simple. I think that is where this headset definitely excels. Like I said, the microphone's not that great. I also don't like that I can't use it connected via USB, and there's not like a 3.5 mil jack, so I can use it with my other devices. Right. So you're kind of stuck to, I believe this works with obviously your PC, Mac.
Use it with Xbox or
it's like one or the other. It's it's either PlayStation or Xbox, one of the two. Gotcha. And I guess you can use it with a Switch, but you need an adapter.
Gotcha. Because old man was saying he couldn't hear the audio samples on the site, and I just tried playing them and I couldn't hear any of them. So
interesting. I'll look into that. I need to write that down because I forget. Remind me to do that. We've had that happen a couple times in the site where like the first one will load.
Yeah, he said the HYTE one would play for him, but the others wouldn't, and none of them would play for me.
So that they're all loading.
Yeah, they were like, for me, they were just showing like 1 second of audio and it'd like do something and then not play. So I don't know. We can look into it.
Yeah, maybe it's because like I'm logged into the website. That could be a difference. I don't know. We'll look into that. Hopefully we can get that fixed for you guys so you can obviously all the samples, because that makes a big difference if you
can't hear the microphone.
If you can't, obviously you can't hear it, you want to hear what the microphone sounds like.
Exactly.
But I think for $100, it's pretty good. It again, if mic quality is something that's extremely important, you might want to look somewhere else or consider getting, you know, I have an XLR microphone, but Ryan uses a simple USB microphone, which sounds quite good as well. So just something to think about, but I gave it an 8 out of 10. So go ahead and check that review out. And then I have some super fast Gen 4 NVMe storage. I actually have it right here. If you guys can see that, it is the Kingston Fury Renegade, and they sent us the version that has the heatsink, so you can get it with a heatsink or without a heatsink. And the nice thing about that is that there's a $5 difference. Most of them we've seen like 10 to $20. this thing, $5 difference between the heatsink and not heatsink version. Heatsink, of course, is great if you're installing this in a PlayStation 5. This is PlayStation 5 compatible. So for all those who want that super fast storage in PlayStation 5, you can use this drive for that. But yeah, this is a Gen 4, I would say second generation Gen 4 NVMe solid state drive. We got the 2 terabyte version. It's available 500 gigabyte, 1 terabyte, 2 terabyte, and 4 terabyte. So you can definitely deck your system out with this. Now, the read and write speeds are 7,300 megabytes a second read, 7,000 megabytes a second write. Now, in our testing, we could only get it to read up to 7,000 megabytes a second. I'm not sure why, but if you look on our testing, you can kind of see that. Yeah, like I said, I tested it multiple times. I don't know why it wouldn't go over 7,000. But even at that speed, I would say it's definitely one of the fastest drives we've ever tested. As far as write speeds go, it's actually the fastest. And if the read speeds did go up to 7,300, like they were advertised, it would have been the fastest reading drive as well. But super,
think it was being like limited by heat or anything?
No,
it's got the heatsink on it. Like,
yeah, I tested like I had the 8064 has the temperature sensor. And I had that running when I did all my tests. And again, I ran the test. I tried different slots in my motherboard. It was, I don't know.
Weird.
But talking about the heatsink itself, it does have grooves built into it, so you can get some of that like ambient air kind of moving through it, which definitely helps it keep cool, which is nice. And then we'll go to our kind of comparison testing. And as you can see, like this is our read graph, and it's going to be hard to see for you guys on the screen, but it basically kind of sits in the middle of our second generation Gen 4 drives, right? Typically, like I said, if it would have been, around 7,300, it would have been up at the top here. But if you go to the rights, I mean, it's at the top of the graph, right? Really, really good there. And same thing with AutoDisk Benchmark. The read speed is kind of right in the middle, but the write speed, super, super fast there. And then Anvil Storage Utilities, again, the highest score that we've scored. And then PC Mark 10, it kind of sat in the middle for everything. So, like I said, just I was a little bit kind of disappointed that it didn't get up to its advertised speeds. I'm not sure why. And I looked at other reviews too, and other reviews had it. Some had it around the same speeds, but some had it at 73, around 7,300. So not sure what that is all about. Well, what that was all about. But yeah, I mean, I gave it a 9 out of 10. The 2 terabyte is $194.99, whereas a 1 terabyte would be $104.99. So definitely affordable. These drives keep on coming down in price, which is nice. And like I said, it's a very attractive drive too with the heatsink, which I like.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. It's not like too flashy. It's not an RGB drive, but it's functional and fast.
yeah. I mean, that's the biggest thing. You want it to be fast.
Right.
As I always say, I'm super fast storage guy, so it's nice to have a really fast drive. And of course, the heatsink is great. Again, if you are going to be using this with a PlayStation 5, keeps everything nice and cool in there. So yeah, check that one out as well. Old Man in the chat says Forspoken takes advantage of direct storage with Gen 4 drives. Yeah, there's a lot of new games that will take advantage of direct storage. So then we have Jim, and he's only saying hi to you. He's not saying hi to me.
Well, he said, "Hey, friends," up above. So.
Oh, did he? I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Okay, Jim. I'll let it slide this time. We'll move on from there to Case Mod Friday, and this week we are featuring a build from our good friend Stuart over at GGF. And I have to say, for this motherboard specifically, this is an excellent build. So this build is
I had to throw that in here.
It
Jim
is.
Says, "Hey, Bob."
Oh, okay. Thanks, Jeff. This build is themed after the Acer ROC X670E Tai Chi, the Carrera edition. In the Carrera edition, all of this like marbling is part of the board itself. We actually reviewed the normal version of this board, but there is a Carrera edition of it. And he kind of matched that with, this is surprisingly enough, an Antec case.
Yeah, it's crazy to me.
Yeah, he matched all of that in this build. So it's just perfect colors. Everything goes together, just super,
I love
super
that
nice.
stacked. Oh man, that looks so good.
You like that?
With the lights on. Yeah.
Yeah. One thing I really like about this is we'll get to it as I kind of cycle through these pictures. Is this, so this is a screen at the top, and he's kind of designed, so this is like an 8-64 readout at the top, but he has it so the case kind of cuts it off, but he's designed his 8-64 readout to like fit in that little space, which is really, really cool. I think
I also like the that thermal take memory that he's using in there. I think that's the
that's
designed stuff, right?
That's the XG. Yeah. So there's the
cool.
readout that has clock speeds, temperatures, and then has a live graph of your CPU and GPU. Really cool stuff right there. Of course, we know Stuart for making some pretty good stuff. So like I said, I think what he did on the case itself is perfect because it matches the motherboard.
I wonder if it's a wrap or if he did like some sort of a,
I don't know. I didn't fully. So we have the video, or no, we didn't put the video. I know he has a video on his channel. I don't know why I didn't put it in there. But he does have a video on his channel going over the build. So I guess that might show us what he did.
And if you've never watched one of his videos, they're just as good as his builds.
Yeah,
he does a great job on.
So search just like GGF build on YouTube, and you can easily find him. I typically put. I don't know why I did. Maybe I was just tired. I don't know. But I typically put his videos in here because I know he does a video for all of his builds. So, but yeah, and I like the white,
the coolant color as well. Looked good in here. At first, I thought it was clear because that reservoir up front has, is so clear. But it's just like a sort of pastel white color.
Yeah, let's see. You can see it in there on the graphics card.
That just looks so clean though. Like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah, very, very nice build from Stuart. So go ahead and check that out. And like I always say, guys, if you're looking for some case mods, you just go to articles section on the site and go to Case Mod Friday. And we have a ton of builds that we feature every week. If you're looking for some, for some inspiration or something like that when it comes to building PCs. So moving on to news, we have some really interesting stuff this week. First, we talked about it last week. It was teased, and now it is official. Powercolor officially announced their Radeon RX 7900 XTX Liquid Devil. That is a water-cooled version of their Radeon RX 7900 XTX. And this is one that it doesn't come with it's not like an AIO. It doesn't come with anything. This is one that you have to put into your existing water cooling loop, or of course build a water cooling loop around it. The block itself is made by EK, and you can kind of see it right here. Here's some better looks at it. Actually, if I go to their website, why is this not?
It's going.
I guess it's taking on. My internet's going slow here.
We're
having internet problems. You had internet problems last week.
I know.
But it does come with
like a leak tester as well, didn't it?
Yeah. So what's nice about this one, you do get EK's leak tester that comes with it. So the block's made by EK, and they're kind of throwing in the leak tester. So that's pretty cool to have in there as well. So pretty cool thing to have in here. And there's an OC mode and all that kind of stuff built into it. This is Powercolor's highest clocked and best 7900 XTX. So if you're into that, you should definitely check that one out. And then we got information on the RTX 4060. We're still, hopefully, fingers crossed, we're gonna get all RTXs this round. We're not gonna go down to a GTX or something like that.
We'll
see. I would, I definitely don't want to see something low end.
No, I'm not looking forward to that podcast when we have to announce, oh, well, they're making a GTX something, right? Because I know it's just going to be us complaining about it.
So so we saw some at CES. We saw laptop versions of the RTX 4060. We saw some laptops that had an RTX 4060. According to well-known leaker, the desktop version will actually use the same GPU, but that GPU will be maxed out. So on the laptop, it's kind of cut down. On the desktop version, he's saying that it is going to be the full unlocked GPU. So that's going to give you 3072 CUDA cores. That is the AD107. Yeah, AD107. So yeah, I think that's pretty cool. I think the more information we get on these, I think these lower end SKUs are really going to sell.
Yeah.
Obviously price has a lot to do with it, but I think you're going to get a lot of power from these as well. So many people are still gaming at 1080p, 1440p. I mean, even I game at 1440p still. So I think that these lower end SKUs, as we kind of go down the line, a lot of people are going to buy these, I think. You were even thinking about possibly upgrading.
Yeah, I was looking at 4070 Ti's again.
Yeah.
I was reading a review that came out today of a Zotac overclocked card, and I'm like, well, I think I would just go with the entry level, like base clocked 4070 Ti and overclock myself and save,
Well, especially because you're going to be water
price premium. Most likely, yeah. Well, that's the thing, is I may put it into a new build. So
yeah, a new build, and then that's the problem though, is you got to get a block for it and all that kind of stuff.
Well, and if I'm considering going Air on that next build. So
oh, you are.
We'll see. I don't know. It fluctuates.
Why is that? Why would you go from like a custom water cooled loop to?
Well, I don't know. It's more work, just like swapping parts out. That's the main piece, is like when it comes to that, it is a lot more work, and you gotta dedicate like a whole day. And if you're changing anything up in the loop, and you gotta get tools out and make sure you've flushed it enough, and it's more work.
That's the reason when I just did my build, and if you guys, we have a video on the channel of my brand new build that I did right before the new year, and that's the whole reason I just went with an AIO, because I was like, if I want to change out parts, and like this is my work PC, and I can't have this
you need it
down
always working.
Yeah, it has to always be working, and it was just like, it was a lot to do, and that's for me, that's the main reason, is that it's just simpler and easier. And again, while I would love to look over and see water coolants and all that kind of stuff, it's just more of a pain for me to do it. One day we'll do it.
You could do a nice looking soft tube build, right? Like use some of the black tubing or
but at the same time, still if I wanted to switch something out, you have, like you said, you have to flush the whole system, and then if I upgrade a graphics card, I got to buy a whole new block for it. Like all these things that kind of come into that. So I kind of get why you would be maybe edging towards an air cooled build with like maybe probably.
And if I go small form factor, like it just complicates the the build process and parts choice and all that. So
yeah. Also talking about graphics cards, Acer released their Intel Arc A770, and it's only gonna be $349, which is very affordable.
Especially with 16 gigs of VRAM.
16 gigs of VRAM on this. If you were looking to get an Intel Arc card, this one looks pretty sweet. Some RGB fans in here and all that kind of stuff. Acer Predator logo, but for $349. Give it a shot. We talk about that comparatively now because the 40 series is so expensive, but they're constantly doing updates to the drivers. It's new tech. And I'd
like to see some reviews on this.
Yeah.
I don't know that I've seen any past, just like the news that, hey, this is available. But yeah, I'm sure we'll see some performance numbers.
Yeah, like I said, you can pick it up now on Amazon if you really are into that. So yeah. Then I also saw this, and I sent you this earlier this week. Somebody who, I guess they had this for a while, they had a 3DFX Voodoo 5 6000 graphics card. Now, I know a lot of our audience probably knows of 3DFX and they know what 3DFX is, but for those who may not know, 3DFX was a graphics cards company that was like the cream of the crop, and everything they did was kind of like out of control, like the craziest graphics cards you could find. Their advertising, and like back then, obviously we had like actual magazines, like all of their ads in the magazines were crazy. It was like kind of like the Buy Gamers for Gamers graphics card company, and that's kind of what they were. And right
This thing's
before,
got 4 fans on it back in the
Yeah.
day, even.
yeah, so right before they were bought out, they were going to launch this new graphics card, which was the 3DFX Voodoo 5 6000. There were rumors of it. It was like, if you were in the tech scene back then, like you had heard about this card and you're like, this thing's going to be amazing, you know, blah, blah, blah. Well, the company ended up kind of having money issues and things like that. And they were eventually bought by NVIDIA. So this card never came out. But there were a handful of prototypes, and those prototypes have been sold on eBay, and we've seen them pop up every couple years. So this one was just sold on eBay for $15,000. And
28 megs.
yeah. So what's really cool about this card is that one of the main reasons this card didn't eventually make it out is because it had a lot of bugs. There were some issues, and 3DFX was obviously working on these issues. And what's really cool about this card specifically is that one of the 3DFX engineers actually fixed the bugs that were on this card. So this card can actually fully run, and it like the seller showed it running, showed it doing everything that it was, you know, capable of doing, which is really cool. For those like who don't know, you can see the 4 fans. That's because there's 4 GPUs on this thing, which is really crazy.
Like,
so
2 was crazy enough back in the day, you know, on some cards, and this thing had 4. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, so 4 VSA 100 graphics processors. Those were the 3DFX Napalm 30 graphics processors, and it had 128 megabytes of VRAM. Think where we just talked about, you know, what's the like the, you know, we're getting 24 gigabytes of VRAM on cards now, and this had 128 megabytes of VRAM at the time. And if it would have came out, it would have had the most VRAM on a graphics card at the time. So you can see how like cool to all of us old timers, like how cool this graphics card would have been when it came out. So yeah, so it was sold on eBay. Pretty cool to see these kind of pop up every once in a while. 3DFX, obviously, for a lot of us, holds like a special place.
When did this come out, or when was it supposed to? Like, what year do you know?
So we actually have a write up on the history of
because I was looking like in my first build, I had a TI 4400, and it had 128 megs of memory. I was curious. I couldn't remember, so I was curious if it came out around the same time or not.
No, I don't know, because I wrote this article way back in 2011. I don't know when it was supposed to come out. I'm pretty sure.
I was just curious.
Oh wait, let's go back here.
Oh, Walrath has an engineering sample.
Yeah. So this is another version of the card. You can see this one has even like more fans and stuff.
That's cool.
See if we can find if there's a date when it was going to be released. Oh, Tech Power Up has so there's another picture of the card, obviously. Does it say never released? I wish I knew the date, because that would kind of give us a
I was just curious. That's all right.
Yeah, but in any case, really, really cool to see. I love when all these old graphics cards kind of pop back up. You know what I mean? And like even look at their like boxes are super cool, and
that logo. I just remember that logo.
3DFX. It was everywhere. I mean, this was like if you were a kid, and again, I was a kid when all these came out.
There.
Yeah. So I
mean, GPUs without heat sinks, right?
they have heat sinks.
The one up above didn't. That first one. And some of those, you know, like, wow.
Yeah. So we have, like I said, we have this whole write-up on 3DFX if you're interested. I really think I should go back and make this into a video, because again, it's super interesting. But it is linked in the actual article. So if you go to the article, we have it linked right here on the history of 3DFX. Really cool. But it's really cool to just see this kind of pop up at auction. I think whoever bought it definitely is like a, you know, they're a computer person if you're going to pay $15,000 for a graphics card that I mean, I guess you could go play Doom and some other stuff with it, right? But yeah, that's super, super cool. So like I said, if you're into 3DFX or want to know more about some of their graphics cards, and most of their graphics cards were pretty leading edge at the time too. So go ahead and check that article out for sure. Moving over to CPU things, DeBauer actually overclocked an Intel Core i9-13900HK. So that's a mobile CPU to 5.8 gigahertz, which is crazy. But in his video, it was really cool that Intel has this sort of secret overclocking app here.
Seems cool.
That nobody's ever seen before. So this is the Intel ROC, which that stands for, what does that stand for? Real?
I love how it says Intel Confidential on the top.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is their real-time overclocking software, and it's pretty cool. You know, it has like all the stuff that you would want as an overclocker.
Yeah, gives you good info, like the voltages on each core and like your performance core and efficiency cores, right? Like, yeah.
And like you can link you know, there's so much stuff that you can do in this app. And like, why don't we have this app? Why don't consumers have this
people
app?
It probably is like a little more like loose on what it's going to let you do, I bet. You know what I mean? Like to really tweak things, and you know, something like this gets out, people blowing stuff up and ruining CPUs, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they could make maybe a for public consumption version of it that's maybe toned down.
I mean, they have the extreme overclocking utility, but it's that
which is good. I liked it.
I mean, it has gotten better over the years, but it's not like this. This is super cool. But we have his video in the article at the bottom here, if you want to check it out and see the overclocking that he's done on a laptop CPU, which is really, really cool as well. All that kind of stuff. But if you want to take a look at the overclocking software as well, just definitely really cool to see. I mean, yeah, I like these hidden gems that nobody knows about that people are finding out, and these, you know, cool things. So
cool.
Definitely check that out there as well. I did link it. I was gonna say. So we have new Xeon processors. Do you care at all?
Do I care at all?
Yeah.
Not as much as I like used to when I was more closely involved with server type work, but I'm out of that scene now. So
yeah. So we have the new Sapphire Rapids, which has been teased and we've been hearing about it for a while, is finally here.
These are workstation processors, right?
Workstation. So the Xeon W9 3495X is the flagship on it. I'm just like, again, there was a point where, like, I mean, I was obviously running the high-end desktop for a while. Xeon, yeah, I'm not really doing like, and again, our thanks to most, like, a lot of times AMD kind of pushing the envelope, our desktop consumer-based processors are fast enough to do everything that we're really doing. You know, back in the day,
this was popular back in the day to maybe run a Xeon or something.
Yeah, because if you were doing a lot of high-end stuff, especially like game design or video editing or anything like that, you kind of wanted a high-end desktop system. A lot of times to take advantage of like the quad channel memory. That's why I had my old high-end desktop system. But yeah, so they announced today, and then you'll have a bunch of new the W790 motherboards that came out. Acer ROC launched theirs. We saw Asus, we saw a bunch, but the Acer ROC one is their W790WS. WS, of course, stands for workstation. The cool thing about this board, beyond the quad channel memory, which I love to see quad channel. It's one thing I miss about my build, is not having my quad channel memory. Is that it comes with, we saw this leaked a while back. This thing the quad M.2 card that looks like a graphics card almost.
First thing I noticed was like those fans, and they look like they are going to be loud.
Yeah, they
But
could be
yes,
getting
these
loud.
are very cool.
But yeah, so 4 M.2s on a
Okay.
card. It requires its own power connection. So yeah, that's really cool to see that. And again, with the workstation, you'll have enough downstream PCI Express lanes to run this fully, which is really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of these boards were announced today. Check them out if you're into Xeon. Like I said, it's not the same thing anymore.
You used to have to go to that, but like you said, with AMD, like especially just when Ryzen came through, right, and was like, oh, you want cores? There's cores. Like, you want to multitask? Here you go. Like, throw your workloads at this thing, and we've kind of been able to steer away from those like Xeon type high end desktop processors for the most part.
Yeah, and I think, like I said, if you're maxing out, these 16 core 32 thread parts, I mean, you're doing some pretty
right.
Like,
well, and you probably should have considered something else if you're going to be like doing that type of work.
Because like even doing like video editing, 4K video editing, for YouTube, or doing the stream, like you're not maxing out your system at all.
No.
So check that stuff out if you guys are interested. Here's something that I thought was awesome, because I love a lot of storage, and I actually have the old version of this. So Western Digital announced their new MyBook desktop drives, or WD Book, or MyBook Duo, or there's a MyBook and a MyBook Duo. So the MyBook is 22 terabytes, but the MyBook Duo is 44 terabytes, which is crazy amount of space. I have the 20, or is it 10?
In a pack, yeah, it's crazy amount of space in a package like this, right? That a consumer can just go grab at maybe a Best Buy or a Micro Center and be like, well, I can back up my computer and your computer, and
So I have a MyBook Duo. I think it's 20 terabytes, the one that I have. So it has two 10 terabyte drives in it. Now you have the Duo that has two 22 terabyte drives in it, giving you a total of 44 terabytes. Or of course you can run it in RAID modes and do different things like that if you want to. Which, like what Ryan said, is, if you're somebody who needs a lot of storage, content creator, whatever it may be, you want a lot of storage. But it's just like, you're not a computer person, right? You're not somebody who's going to buy hard drives and put them in your system, or
buy an
NAS,
and throw them in there. Like, no,
set up a NAS. It's just too much work.
This is two cables, probably power and USB, right?
Yeah, that's it. It's just a USB drive, super simple, and the amount of storage. And again, look how small the
it's just an external drive.
It's just an external drive. So these were announced today. The 22 terabyte is 600. The 44 terabyte is 1500. So lots of money for storage, but again, super simple. I love the simplicity of it. If you're into that,
that's cool.
44 terabytes. I like that a lot. New microphones from Cherry, of all people. So we know Cherry. Everybody knows Cherry for their switches. We reviewed some of their keyboards as well. Beyond the switches, they make their own keyboards, but now they're going to offer their own microphones. So they have 3 different microphones here, going from kind of more entry level to there's one with RGB and everything like that on it. I'd be kind of interested to see what these sound like. We know Cherry makes good stuff. They look nice. They all come with a stand.
They look cool. They look a little underwhelming, but who knows? You can't tell the scale either, right?
Yeah, and I think obviously when it comes to a microphone, it comes down to the quality, what these sound like. But these are all USB microphones, and it kind of makes sense. I mean, with streaming, podcasting, everything getting much more mainstream,
and it being mainstream, like it goes right back to that Western Digital thing, right? Like, this is just something that can plug and play, right? You don't need an XLR cable, or if it came with an XLR cable, you don't need an audio interface to then go into your PC and figure out how to use that, and what is phantom power and X, Y, and Z, right? This is just, this is a Type-C connection and a connection for my PC. Great, I'm done. So and then a lot of the USB mics that we've reviewed sound fine. Like, I'm on a USB mic right now, so
they'll have a bunch of that stuff. Check out their websites if you're into those. And then what else do we have? Okay, so Corsair launched this thing, and there's some funny things about this story because I thought it was hilarious. One, so everybody knows Corsair, their RGB lighting. Of course, with their RGB lighting, you use their iCUE software. Now they launched this new thing called iCUE Murals, which I assume basically you can have a effect go across everything, and it's all based on location. I assume that's how this works, right? Kind of like what we saw from HYTE at CES, kind of like the same thing. These pictures obviously don't show you what it really does. So here you guys can kind of see the effect is going across all of your devices, and you can move the device. You can move your devices depending on where they are, right? Because so you have their light bars and your keyboard. So the effect looks like it's going across your entire desktop or your setup, right?
Right.
I think this is great. I think it's cool. I think that Corsair, of course, has so many RGB enabled devices that just makes sense, and to have a fluent, because you can put the rainbow wave on everything, but then one's not in line with the other, and it's not fully in sync. With this, will put everything kind of in sync. So I definitely like that. Now, the question I have about this is
the question that many people had, I think.
Why is this guy wearing a helmet?
Yeah, well, he's just
so I assume this is like somebody, I don't know, whoever shot this for Corsair was like, yeah, let's put him in a helmet, because
put him in a helmet. That'll be realistic.
Gamers are playing a racing game with the helmet.
But he didn't put his gloves on. He's got the gloves to the side. He knew he was going to have to interact.
It looks like he's using a controller, but is he not? Is the controller just sitting there? But that's just funny. One of the funny things I saw.
And the headset's off to the right. Like, he's got no audio either. Well, he's got the bookshelf speakers, I guess. So who knows? This is just it got a lot of flack though on social media.
Yeah, I put it out. That's the first thing I put out there. I was like, what is this? But in any case, I do like it because it creates a fully, again, if you have all these products that are meant to kind of go together, having a full thing. And again, it's not just going to be a rainbow wave. Like, as you can see, they have it's going to reactive audio EQ. You can set up your kind of personal visual kind of thing. So I like it. I think it's cool. Now, a lot of people are saying too, and again, I've had some issues with iCUE, and it's gotten better over the years. I don't use Corsair now in my system because I have the Lee and Lee fans and all that kind of stuff. But people are like, can you just make iCUE work first? So sometimes people do have issues with iCUE, and it does happen. I would say to a lot of people that do have iCUE and do have issues, the best thing to do is that all of your RGB all of the fans, your memory, they all have firmware, and make sure you're updating your firmware to the latest version. You can do that within iCUE. That fixes a lot of problems, and just make sure you have the latest version because it gets fixed all the time. And if there's issues, that's pretty cool to see. I definitely like to see that for sure. And then Old Man in the chat he says, I like LEDs behind the monitor as indirect lighting, but not lights next to the monitor. Yeah, those like light bar things.
I have them. You sent them over to me.
Yeah.
And I haven't found a good use for them, right? I want to integrate them somewhere behind me, but I may have found a new thing behind me. We'll talk about it later. So
yeah. Talking about RGB control. So we talked about iCUE. Some people don't like iCUE, right? There's the Razer software. There's SteelSeries software. There's all these different
ZXT. What was it called? What was their software called?
I forget because I haven't used it in so long.
I know, same.
But then you have your motherboards RGB. You have Asus Aura Sync. You have Mystic Light from MSI. You have Gigabytes. You have all this different RGB software, right?
N60 Cam.
Yeah, Cam. Sorry. Every product you have has its own RGB software. Well, it looks like that you might be able, if you have Windows 11, a test build came out that has this lighting section for RGB stuff, and you can see there, like, this person's devices, a Stream Deck, a mouse, This is a headset, I think. Your the gaming keyboard, and you're able to do the RGB lighting all within Windows, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
The only it appears from this from what we saw on this is that it's only currently with USB devices. So obviously, like, you're not going to be able to do it with your motherboard, your motherboard or your memory, at least not yet. But I like it. I think it's good. If obviously, if you don't want to use this, you're not going to have to. You can obviously use the software that comes with your device, right?
Right.
But I think it's cool that it's going to be built into Windows, especially for a lot of people. Like, you buy your non-computer friend something, and they try to install the software, and it's this whole thing. You'd be like, yeah, just go into Windows. You'll see it pop up. It's right there. Like, it's a lot less for somebody who might not know what they're doing.
Well, and then with this, like, we were just talking about updates. Let Windows updates take care of the updating of this software, right? And keeping your things updated. You don't have to, make sure you got automatic updates turned on iCUE or anything like that. So yeah, this is cool.
Yeah. So we don't know when this is going to be released out into Windows. When it does, we'll definitely let you know. We'll do some tests with it and see how well it works for sure. And the last thing, Hogwarts Legacy, which I'm not like. What is this?
You're a real muggle, it sounds like.
I don't know what that means.
Because
I think I watched one of these movies.
Okay.
What's the movie? What are these movies called?
What? Harry Potter?
Yeah, Harry Potter. Yeah. So I'm not a Harry Potter fan. I didn't realize this game was going to be as big as it was going to be. But apparently, so this is obviously a Harry Potter game, but it apparently is the second biggest single player launch on Steam ever.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Which
I think it got a lot of attention in social media related to, oh my gosh, J.K. Rowling. And it just grabbed more and more attention, and more people became aware of it, and then it just, I think that adds to it.
Yeah.
Some of the screenshots and review, images and analysis I've seen looks amazing. But yeah, I'm not like a huge Harry Potter person either, so I'm not going to get this game and play it, but it looks neat.
Yeah. So to give you guys, like, again, I'm not a Harry Potter person. I didn't even know this game was coming out. It's like, just to put it in perspective, the only other game that did better sales was Cyberpunk. So, wow. And that was a game that that had been hyped in at least in our community, PC community, for years, for like a year at least.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so great. It's good to see a lot of people playing a game. Whether, again, we're not going to talk about all the controversy around the game. It did look like, I have seen some screenshots and some gameplay. It does look good. Mm-hmm. So if you're interested in playing it, I know some really big Twitch streamers were playing it as well. So. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool to see, a game do so well on its release. That's awesome. So yeah, that is it for news. Coming up next week. So I've had this MSI router for like what seems like forever. We're finally releasing.
I didn't see that on the notes. I would have said something earlier.
Oh yeah. That's so funny. They don't have a product page up for it yet. But the review is going to come out tomorrow, so definitely come back to the website tomorrow. Are you
sure?
I would hope so. It is the MSI Radix AXE 6600. Basically, this is their first gaming router. It's really cool. It has RGB lighting, which makes it super fast. No, but it's a Wi-Fi 6E router. If you guys don't know what the difference is between Wi-Fi 6 and Wi-Fi 6E, is that you get 2 bands at 6 gigahertz. So one, you have a less congested space, just like when you your 5 gigahertz, you have 5G and 5G 1 or no.
Right. Yeah. When you got your network names and
yeah. So that just makes it so it's good. It has an AI mode that kind of sees what you're doing, sees what the network is doing, and optimizes for whatever that is. But then it has also built-in modes like a gaming mode, so it's going to optimize gaming. It has a streaming mode, so it's optimized for streaming. There's a work from home mode that it can optimize for work from home. And obviously, like I said, we'll go over a lot more of it next week. The interface, and again, I'm not like a crazy network person. The interface is extremely easy, super easy to use. You play with the interface a little bit when we were at CES. Didn't you? I don't think.
Oh, because you had it. No, you had it there, but we didn't end up using it. Remember?
Yeah. But yeah, super easy to use. So we'll definitely have that for you next week. Also, I'm taking a look at another case. So this is the Be Quiet Pure Base 500 FX. So back in 2021, we reviewed the Pure Base 500 DX. The FX is essentially the same case, but they've outfitted it with 4 of their new Lightwings fans. Comes with the ARGB controller in the case. Everything's pre-wired. Super cool. So if you are a fan of their RGB fans, this case, it has everything in it, and it has the RGB strip. Everything is going to be synced and work together. So we'll have that for you as well. And then Ryan will be taking a look at another iron key device from Kingston. So this one is their Iron Key Vault Privacy 50.
Right. Yeah. So this is, we looked at the Iron Key keypad 200 that had the little keypad on it. This is the Vault Privacy 50. You don't have to. We got it up there. But I have the 50C version, so it's got Type C connection.
It is weird to see.
It's very weird.
A USB device that is Type C. I know that's we should be going in that direction, obviously.
Yes.
But it's just for being like an old school PC person, it is a little weird.
And I kind of talk about that Type C connection and some of the things that I'm not overly worried about, but we'll talk about it more.
Yeah.
Once the review's out. But yeah.
Nice. Well, that is everything that we have for you guys this week. Obviously, if I know Old Man was talking about it in the chats, but Ryan, and you can kind of see them behind him. I'll make them pretty big.
When I speak, got some new lights in the back.
Yeah, you have these really cool light bars.
I have another one right here, and they're these like battery powered, right? It's not plugged in, so it's got a rechargeable battery in it with Type C connectivity on the back and a little microphone, on the back, and 3 buttons to adjust, turn the power on, adjust color and things like that. But they're little, just like sound bars. I thought they were a cool thing. I think I found them like scrolling on Instagram.
Okay.
And you get like advertisements, and usually you just like keep going by them. This one I was like, ooh, I'm gonna screenshot this or like find the name of it, and I found something on Amazon. But yeah, you can like, let's see here. Where's a mode? So I'm gonna like adjust the mode here. So now it's doing like a center to out, right? So
I might have to mount them. I might have to.
They're cool, and I saw some people mounting them like in their cars and in computers and all sorts of stuff. It comes with a Type C cable with each one of them. It comes with a little stand so you can mount them up. But there's all sorts of
we might have to put some. Like I might have to
inside
put
to the outside. Let's see here. It has like the bar. Whoops, let me try it that way. So like, I'm getting a glare. Let's move this back.
We can see it. Yeah.
Where it like kind of has that falling bar, which is kind of cool.
That is cool.
I wish you could like pair them together and make them like put a bunch of them across and act like an audio spectrum.
Yeah.
But with this, it's just they're all
the single
all the same thing. But it's kind of a cool look, I thought.
Yeah, it cool. Looks really cool behind you, especially like how you have it set up there.
Well, I wasn't sure if it was going to be like distracting or anything, when I was talking. I just wanted to see what it looked like. I think it turned out all right. It's kind of neat.
Yeah, and how much were those?
The 4-pack was like $60, I think, which didn't seem too terrible for what they're doing. I mean, they're the only thing I wish that they had maybe was, in addition to the microphone, like a 3.5 mil jack, so it could get a direct feed, and you didn't necessarily have to have audio going to enable it, but it could react to sound, that you pipe to it or something like that. Yeah,
or like again, like a app where you could kind of change things or do something like that.
Right.
Yeah,
but
then that stuff gets more expensive as you kind of Very cool. Yeah, you'll have to send me that. I'm gonna have to pick some up just to kind of mess. Well, I mean, again, I can put them behind me too. Like we could have them somewhere in here.
Dueling light bars, yeah.
Yeah. So no, that's really cool. So yeah,
that's my new thing. And I'm just gonna leave them on because I don't want to turn them off. So I'm gonna come down here like tomorrow or something, and if they're not turned off, they're gonna scare me at first because
yeah,
stuff's gonna light up.
Is there anything else tech related that you did?
I don't think so, man. I'm just like pumped. I've been watching trailers and stuff for the new season of Apex Legends, which we're gonna go play next. So I'm excited about some skins and some new weapons.
I did play yesterday.
Yeah,
I played.
I think Shinny did as well, maybe a little.
I played the new deathmatch, which was a lot of fun. Yeah, and I bought the battle pass. So,
of course,
I always go about it. It's only.
I'm gonna buy it up front this time because I kind of shot myself in the leg or in the foot. Well, not necessarily. I don't remember where in the battle pass I was when I bought it, but I should have bought it up front because like you can only. Yeah, you're so many levels. Yeah. Like towards the end, you can't progress past a certain spot with those levels. So yeah, I'll buy it up front this time. Yeah.
So like I said, like Ryan said, we will be playing on Twitch. So once this stream ends, head on over to Twitch, twitch.tv/ThinkComputers. I think we do need to get Ryan to remake because like I have a ton of channel points and we need to.
I got something cooked up for tonight.
Oh, you do? Okay.
It's not related to channel points. I just like spent 2 minutes on it yesterday. I was like,
we do need to redo the, what do you call those? Like the channel point.
Yeah, channel points. Yeah.
But like what,
like the rewards, like
the rewards, like
channel rewards. Yeah.
Yeah, we need to,
because you could like spend them to make me play a certain character or like drop a gun or do something. Yeah, we need to. I need to spend some time on it.
We need at least like a hydrate. We need like 10 jumping jacks. We need all kinds.
No, we don't need that.
Yeah. We need like.
Shinny says he needs to spend his 78,000 channel points.
We should make like no Oreos for an hour. You know.
Oh, and I just got a new pack of Oreos. I'm so excited to open them up tonight.
Oh, it's Girl Scout cookie time.
Oh yeah.
Like it's kind of funny because like Girl Scout cookies have been around for so long and they haven't changed. Like they're the same.
Oh yeah.
But they're so good. Like
like the lemon ones. I think the lemonades are my. I don't know. I used to like the caramel and like coconut ones. I forget what those are called. Thin mints are always good. I don't know that there's one that I don't like actually.
Thin mints are my like. I've already eaten, so I got them like 2 days ago, and I already ate an entire sleeve of Thin Mints. So it's not.
Oh, Shinny must have just gotten in here. Yes, they are triggering off of my voice. They are battery powered. I have another one here. Let me turn it on. But yes, they trigger off your voice. I set this one to a different lighting mode. They got all sorts of lighting modes and
pretty cool.
All sorts of cool stuff.
Yeah. So like I said, we're going to continue all of this over on Twitch. Like I said, head on over there. Ryan will have that stream up. We appreciate everybody here who was in the live chat. Of course, Old Man Jim and Shinny coming in late. Excited to play some Apex Legends with him. We appreciate everybody, of course, who listens to the podcast later. And of course, everybody who is subscribed.
That's funny.
Old Man in the chat says something really funny. But we're going to head on over to Twitch. We will see everybody next week.